Okay, so you are able to see this. Let me reduce it a little bit. You see there are 5 boxes. What I'm going to share with you is a project timeline. See, we have learned about project initiation, execution, monitoring and control, and closure, right? And then we discussed each knowledge area like scope, time, cost, and risk, communication, procurement, stakeholders. Yeah, you will be able to. I will zoom in. I will zoom in. I'm just showing the 5 boxes right now. So, but how this happened in the project, that's not very clear if you go knowledge wise. So that's why I put it in a different manner. Same knowledge area, same processes. I have put on a project timeline from initiation to the closure. And here the focus is more on deliverable, less on activities. Okay, what deliverables come at what time and how it will be produced, that is what the overall approach here is. So I think with this you will be able to easily map these processes on the project. If you see here, the first is initiation. There are two processes. You will see the planning process is quite big. The lot of processes in this you already know. Then comes the execution. The control, and the lastly the closure. There are again two processes. If you see here in the monitoring, control and execution, you see through the change request on preventive and corrective measures, there is a basically this goes planning, execution, monitoring, control, then planning, execution, monitoring, control. This loop keep going on. So let me start initiation. So what happened? A project starts. Let me make it a little big. Is it readable now? Okay. So first process is like when the project start. Project start with charter. Project charter. What charter is all about? Project charter is all listing that why we are doing this project, what are the objectives of this project, what is the overall approach to this project. One minute. Approach to this project, overall the what is the high level milestone plan, high level scope of the project, high level requirements. So basically the direction of the project, and the next step is to identify all the stakeholders in the project. The effort is to identify all the stakeholders. We need to move ahead, even if it is quite possible that we may not be able to like get all the projects, all the stakeholders in the project. And then once we have this done, what the first step goes in the planning is the preparing a project management plan. And project management plan preparing means preparing a management plan, scope, time, cost, quality, HR, risk, procurement, requirement, configurations, risk response plan. All these plans are, then it is called only project management. That is how we are going to do the project. The next step is to document the requirement and prepare a scope statement. When we develop a requirement document, we also develop a requirement traceability matrix which help us to track the requirements implementation project in various phases of the project. The scope, once we create the scope statement, which will talk about what exactly there in the project, and also talk about what is not in the project in terms of product scope and project scope both. The next step is to elaborate on project scope. What is there in the project? What work is to be done? And that work is actually done by WBS. So subdividing the project work into smaller and smaller pieces, that will make the project more reportable, assignable. That is the overall approach to create WBS, so that we can execute the total work of the project easily. And have the work packages in a work breakdown structure. When the work packages, what we do, every work package is the last deliverable in the WBS is the work package. For every work package, we identify activities that need to be performed to produce that deliverable, produce that work package. Now the scheduling comes into picture. We say all activity diagram by assigning relationship to these activities, by seeing that they are by putting their dependencies among each other, and that gives us the network diagram, applying leads and lag as well, so that we get a better end date for the project. Then we go for the duration estimate. We learn about various techniques like PERT, like Petrick, like analogous, 3-point estimates, and other estimation techniques. Once we estimate the duration, in fact, before estimating the duration, we also identify the resources required for each and every activity. And once we have our scope, our schedule ready, we for each and every activity, we also estimate the cost. How we estimate the cost? By knowing the resources required for every activity. So we identify the activities, then set up the dependencies to get the network diagram, identify the resources required for each activity, estimate the duration of each activity, and estimate the cost of each activity. With the basis of all these things, activity, network diagram, duration estimate, and develop with the schedule and cost of each activity, we prepare budget. What is the project budget? The time, phase, expenses or cost of the project. We have budget. The next we come to planning resource management. We develop a resource management plan. As part of that, resource loading, the training needs, the staffing management plan, and the roles and responsibility. Once we are done with this, we identify the risk and create a register. For each risk, we go for qualitative analysis, and the risks which are having a threat in near term or are severe or have greater impact or have a high frequency of impact, they go for quantitative analysis. Once we are done with the quantitative and qualitative analysis, we prepare a response plan in terms of mitigating, in terms of transferring, and if nothing can be done, accepting and putting a contingency against it. Once we have the risk response plan, see that what things we need to procure from outside of the organization. What all things we need to buy from the outside the organization to this project. For that, we prepare a first we make a decision we want to buy or make inside. If we decide to buy, we prepare a statement of work. Then we develop a RFP, RFQ, or IFB, etc. Float that and select a seller. Produce a selection criteria and produce a selection criteria. Now we come to the execution part. In execution, because we already have a resource management plan, staffing plan, the first thing in the execution is to start acquiring the people who will do the work. So acquire the team. During execution, we manage expectations of the stakeholders. The team which we have selected execute the project and produce deliverables. And when the team is producing deliverables, we work for the team to develop their productivity, manage the team by giving them feedback and helping them to improve on their shortcomings. When the deliverable is being produced, we also ensure that the deliverable which is coming out, we apply a lot of assurance activities so that the deliverable is of quality, and things we need to procure as part of the project, we also procure them. So as an outcome, if you see, we have of the execution, we have deliverables, we have quality metrics, that is on what basis we will measure the quality of the deliverables. We have performed some, we produce performance data, that is the collection of the data, execution data. We prepare a project status report based on this performance data, and there is a possibility that we identify some changes, we collect that change here. We issue a change request and then move into a monitoring. So what we do in monitoring is a monitoring and project. We see that what are our deliverables, validate the deliverables against the quality matrix and verify control can also suggest corrective and preventive measures, which will be feedback to the planning stage. That will be feedback to the planning stage. And this cycle goes on until all the deliverables are produced. And once all the deliverables are produced, accepted by the client or the user, we see that our procurement is completed, and we procurement first and close the project, that is the administrative, by archiving the project, by doing a lesson learned and archiving the project, by transitioning the outcome of the project to the operations. Right? Any question related to? Is it helpful to map the processes to the project, or project life cycle, or project various phases in the project, various processes in the project? Okay. Okay. Can you share template format for WBS? You want a template for WBS? I'm not sure WBS there are templates. Actually, templates has to be produced for your own company actually. What you need to do, I'm not sure if any specific template is there for WBS at least. For WBS, it is little difficult to get a template, but there are templates for the various other project plan, etc. But WBS is mainly need to be very specific to the companies actually. A very standard WBS normally doesn't work. So whatever the you see, I try to plan ideally one of the project in your organization, and then make it as an umbrella WBS, and create a I will say a template out of it, so that people can do the pick and choose.